That's bad.
All right, so this is an exciting one. Today we're going to go pick up the new block for James Brown here. James has just been sitting here basically waiting for me to tear it apart ever since we got back from the track with it. If you don't remember, I'm pretty sure this thing spun a bearing and just haven't had the ambition to tear it apart yet. But when the whole thing with Jack went down, basically Jack had an aluminum 5.3 out of a Trailblazer. I also had another aluminum 5.3 out of a Trailblazer, the one that I bought over the winter, and we pulled it apart and everything. So that motor I was going to put in the RX-7, and then Jack ended up having the oil starvation issue in that, toasted that motor. So I was like, well, the truck's kind of more of a priority, more people like the truck, and the truck's a lot closer. So I figured we'll pull the motor out of Jack. The motor that I was going to put in the RX-7, we'll end up just putting it in Jack. And that's what we did. So the motor that came out of Jack is now at the machine shop. We sent it off to get it hot tanked and cleaned and everything, and he put some fresh cam bearings in it because those were pretty junk. And now he said it's ready. It's actually been ready for a couple days now, just haven't really had the time to go out there and go get it. But now I'm going to make the time to go out there and go get it. And then I don't know if we're going to put it back in the RX-7 because I've been thinking about getting rid of the RX-7, so I don't want to build a whole nother motor and like take the time to check over everything for it. So what I've been thinking about doing is just picking up another stock 5.3 from Nick and the guys at Regal Auto Parts. Go check them out, and they're in Howell, Michigan. I've been thinking about getting just a stock 5.3 to put in it. Might toss a cam in it, not sure. Getting this thing back together to where it runs. It'll still be pretty fast, let's be real. I mean, the car's not super heavy. It's about 2,900 pounds with me in it. So, yeah, been thinking about doing that and then run it once or twice more this year and then put it up for sale. Kind of what I'm thinking about doing. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who are like, man, how could you think of getting rid of that car? That car built the channel. A lot of people actually have said that. I don't think this car built the channel. I think this car is amazing and I love it. And it's probably going to be one of those cars that I regret getting rid of, but much like getting rid of Goldie Hawn, I think it's just a necessary step in evolution. If I had kept Goldie Hawn, I think I would probably just be in the 10s with that truck, which would be pretty impressive for, I think that truck was 4,500 pounds, something like that. But I was able to sell the truck, try some other things, learn a lot, and I think it's kind of the same thing here. Plus, I'm super itching to get to work on the 55. And I think for as long as I have this car, I'm going to keep putting money and time into this thing. So I think it'd be better for me to just get rid of it and use all that money on the 55, get the Fiero running, which I would do first. So I think that if I keep it, it would just end up getting out of hand. And that's not really what I want. I want the 55. And lately I just haven't really been into the have 900 cars thing, which has kind of been my MO for, God, the last like 10 years. But I've been wanting to just kind of slow things down, focus on a couple cars that are really special to me. And then once those are more done or like sprinkled in here and there, I might pick up some quick flips, things like that. I was looking at a couple third gens recently that were really cheap that I was thinking about getting. But yeah, aside from that, I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm just super itching to get to work on this thing. So I want to put a floor in it, put some quarters on this thing, fix a little bit of the rust here and there. It doesn't need a whole lot. Like, it looks a lot better on camera than it does in person, but it doesn't need a whole lot. It needs a lot of like trim stuff. Not really trim stuff, but like the door handle mechanisms and all that sort of stuff. There's my hammer. I was wondering where that went. So it needs that kind of stuff. I don't care if this thing's a show car. I'm not into that. I've said that many times. But I want it to, you know, from like here, I want it to look nice, and I want it to be pretty quick. If this car runs low 10s to high 9s, I'd be thrilled. I was talking to my buddy Brandon. He's like, what engine combo are you going to go with? And I'm still so up in the air with that. I think that ultimately I will probably end up putting an LS in it because I really want to put my Pro Charger on it. I just think that would be so sick. And it's too small for a big block, the Pro Charger that I have, or the Supercharger, sorry. Pro Charger is just more of a widely known. If you say Supercharger, they're like, is it roots? Is it, you know, positive displacement? All this. It's a Vortec blower. But it's too small for a big block, and I think a big block would be cool in here. I'm kind of too lazy to beat the heck out of the firewall, so I don't know. It's still kind of up in the air, but I really want to put the blower on it, and I have everything to bolt the blower to an LS, and we're going to go pick up the block that just came from the machine shop. They just got cleaned, and we might end up putting that motor in this, the new aluminum motor in this, which would help with weight because these things are heavy. I expect that this thing, once it's done, will probably be like 3,400 pounds, 3,500 pounds. I'm not gonna like super cut it up trying to make it a lightweight race car. I still want to be able to drive it all over the place. So I'm gonna put a big radiator in it, not just like the stock size one. And then I don't think I showed you guys this intercooler, but I got this from my buddy Andrew, who has a blue FC RX-7. Actually, well, I'm not going to say anything. I don't know if that's out yet. But yeah, this he made. I'm going to have to cut that out. I don't know if he wants me sharing numbers actually, but I know how much power this thing made, and this thing will support more power than this car will ever need, to be honest. With this is a big 4-inch core deal that he made for his RX-7. So yeah, we can put the blower here, go in here, there, into the intake. I don't know what intake we're going to go with yet. I'll probably end up leaving the Holly intake on the RX-7, let it go with it, just because everything's already set up. The turbo kit's already, like the charge pipe and everything's already going into it. And then I'm pretty sure I showed you guys the 4L80 that I have. So it'll be like a aluminum 5.3. Gonna have to get a hold of Circle D, figure out a torque converter for it. Something streetable, but isn't going to really hinder us when we leave. So probably like a 35 to 4,000. Those 4L80s with the lockup, like you can have a 12,000 stall converter, lock it up on while you're cruising, and still cruise at like 2,500 RPM. It's awesome. Yeah, that bad boy's right there. And I think that I don't know if I want to go with the Jake's deal in that, or if I want to get the same TCI thing that's in this, because I really like it, and it's full manual, which I'm totally fine with, but the wiring's a little weird. I do like the Jake's deal too. That's what John has in his Blazer, I believe. And then, pretty sure I showed you guys this before, the G-body Ford 9-inch that is, I want to say 2 inches narrower than the stock rear end, which will be perfect. And I could still bolt those wheels to it. Oh, by the way, I got the back wheels on it, which made me realize that the axle's offset this way a little bit because it's real close to touching. Actually, I think it is touching the inner fender lip. And then on the other side, there's like almost an inch gap. Moral of the story, I want to get this car together. I want to start working on it. So that's kind of hesitantly what I'm thinking is put a stock 5.3, like an LM7 deal in the RX-7, get it running, driving, pretty consistent, nothing spectacular. The turbo will be sized just fine for that. It's a billet 7875 with a 125 housing. The intake would probably want a bigger cam, but it still shouldn't hurt anything. I did think about putting this intake back on the car. Don't know if we will. Probably won't. But yeah, probably won't. Anyway, let's go pick up the motor, get it back here, throw it on the stand, and might get this thing pulled out so that in the next few days we could probably get this car back together, figure out for sure what I want to do. Anyway, before I ramble anymore, let's go pick up the motor. Alright, here we are at Dowker's Engines in Charlotte, picking up the block. All right, got the block all back. Cleaned up pretty good. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna drive slow. All right, we made it safe and sound. Barely even moved. Now we can rustle this thing out of here. Yeah. There we go. Tailgate, please don't drop it. I think as light as that thing is, I probably can get it.
Somebody get her a towel. It's come on, Eileen. Come on, Eileen. Sometimes I pee when I sing.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Did I say aluminum LS? I meant iron big block. That's what I meant this thing was. I am just incredibly fucking jacked.
Come on, Eileen. Sometimes I pee when I sing. Whoa.
Now I'm going to run over to Pops' place, grab my dingle ball hone. We'll freshen up these cylinders. They're not too bad. They've got a little bit of junk there, but nothing crazy. Dingle ball, freshen them up real good. Might give the deck surface a quick little Holdner razor blade rebuild. But everything else is looking good. Fresh plug there. There's no oil diverter in it. I'm going to get the aluminum barbell. Overall, we're in pretty good business, I think. So now back in the truck, I need to grab ring compressor, dingle ball hone, the main caps for the main bearings. I think that's all I need to grab. Let's run and get that stuff real quick. Hey Dad, guess what? Chicken butt. Alright, got my balls. Now we can start cleaning up these cylinders. Hopefully, I don't know how well, or how I would even go about describing. It's almost like they're smooth, but like every so often, just sporadically, there's like a little grit. Like, it doesn't feel like rust or anything like that. It just feels like there's just a singular speck of something. So I'm gonna get this thing thrown in the drill. We'll start honing it out a little bit. Now, most of you guys know you never want to run this down there dry, so I like to use WD-40. It's super easy to spray it around. Makes less of a mess than mixing up a bucket of like diesel and ATF and dunking this thing in there. Oh yeah. It looks brand new. Oh, it feels great. All right. Let's keep going. I'm sure someone's gonna ask why I didn't have the machine shop do this. Well, they charge a lot of money. And it's pretty easy to do. It only takes a couple minutes. And I already bought the tool. Oh, this reminds me. How's your mom doing? Yeah. Cleaned up good. I noticed this one and this one and this one had a couple vertical wear marks, but should be fine. I can just barely feel that one with my nail. I don't think. Yeah, that one's not too bad. Oh, this one had. Yeah, that one can't feel at all. Alright, cool. Now I might just spray it with some WD-40 just to keep it from like flash rusting. I know it's aluminum, but you can still get like a flash oxidation on it. So I'd like to avoid that. Alright, she's saturated, all good to go. I think for now I'm probably going to just set a bag over it, tie it up, make sure that nothing can really mess with it. And then I think the next order of business is getting the engine pulled out of the RX-7 because we're going to use the heads and crank rods, pistons, cam, timing chain, pretty much everything from that motor, except the block. Got the engine out of James. Looking pretty gold. The torque converter started to, when I jacked up the transmission, it kind of like wedged the snout in the back of the crank. So when I started to pull it out, it came with it. So I ended up completely bloodbathing my floor, which it's not the first time to happen. So whatever. And yeah, I know starter's just hanging out and doing its thing. Shouldn't let them just hang like that. So now, isn't it amusing how offset those motor mounts are? To be honest, I don't remember why I did that. I know there was some reason why I did it, but... Oh, was it... No, I don't remember why. There's some reason why I had this one way up here. So, engine came out pretty easily once I decided to get off my ass and do it. So probably in the next video, I'll get this thing on the stand and we'll take it apart, see what went wrong with it. I'm expecting it to be a spun bearing. I don't think it's going to be like the same like oil starvation issue that Jack's motor had, because this one ran fine for, I put it together last year, so it ran good. I think just something was unhappy. So we'll get that torn apart probably in the next video. In the meantime, I'll probably find another stock 5.3 to toss in this thing. I'm not going to open it up at all. Stock cams, stock valve springs, stock head gaskets, all that. And I truly believe that with this intake and that turbo setup, it'll be able to breathe just fine, fast, plenty enough to still go 10s. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Just have a nice kind of, hopefully more reliable, just cruiser car. I can still get a 10 out of, and then I'll probably put it up for sale and start building the 55 over there. So that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. If you need anything from Snake Eater Performance, use code Snydertron for 10% off your order. If you need anything from Circle D, use code Snyder3000 for 10% off. I'm going to be hitting up Circle D for a converter for the 55. If you want any merch, that all goes directly into helping fund all this crap. That's usually first link in the description below. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for subscribing, clicking that bell to get the notifications. I'll see you next time.